Clear Shots is brought to you by Pinecast. Use the code R-63F8FB to get 40% off your first 4 months.
Don't give them clear shots. Don't give them clear shots. Don't give them clear shots. Don't give them clear shots.
Sunday, my dad texts Seth, and he goes, "Hey,
Is he looking for a job?
He goes, "Hey, is Seth looking for a job?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And my dad texts him back, and he goes, "Well, the Packers just fired their coach, and they're looking for a new one. You fucking faggot." I was like, "Yup, there we go."
They did do that. I should have saw that coming.
My dad is my dad is so in love with you. It's hilarious. Yesterday we were at my grandma's, and I'm like, would it be cool if I invited like Seth and Katie to the Christmas party? Because each person can have like each family member invited can invite like one other person, and I guess two technically, but I was like, can I invite Seth? And my dad's like, yeah, that'd be awesome. I'm like, okay.
I like your dad. I feel like it's so weird because like I lived in that house and I feel like he hated me because I lived in that house. Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't care now, obviously.
But it's also because he probably has to know that I wasn't the one that did that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because Seth went to the Bills game with my dad and my uncle.
That was the first time I really like met him though. Like, yeah. I mean, I had seen him at like random parties and shit, and like even at Wes's house, he was there a couple
my dad
times.
He is very, I would say he's almost too professional, but he has to be because all of his businesses are tied to his name. But he can also, like, when he knows he can let loose, he fucking does. That's why it's hilarious if you go anywhere out of Oswego with him, because he's just, like, unhinged. Like, the Bills game,
he was definitely the guy on the bus that was, like,
he was fucking getting everybody going. And he fucking had...
There's always one guy.
Yeah. He brought fucking, like, a pint of Jack Daniels, and my uncle brought like a handle of vodka, and like 6 a.m. they're making mixed drinks to get ready for the game, which is hilarious. And Seth and I were just fucking hammering beers and drinking BV.
I was like, yeah, because we
didn't really start drinking until we got there.
Well, I was drinking from my I drank like half of my flask on the way up there.
Yeah.
Because I was tired because I mean we had to get up at 4:30 basically.
You got up early too.
Yeah, and I was like, well, I'm this tired, and I haven't eaten anything, so I'm just gonna be drunk. And then we got there and ate a shit ton of food. Dude, that mac and cheese, though.
Yeah, dude. They got fucking catering for the Oswego Health trip. They got catering from this amazing fucking restaurant in Buffalo, and it was chicken wings, mac and cheese.
There was like goulash.
Yeah, chicken wings, mac and cheese, goulash, and some sort of salad. And then it was one of the tables we didn't get ribs, but the other tables did, but we were the only table that had mac and cheese.
That shit was ridiculous.
And it was right next to our bus, like right when we got off. Like the only shitty thing about that was that the tickets weren't all in the same section, which is weird. Because I remember when my dad...
There was a bunch of them, though. I mean, like, at least 4 of us were, like, in the same similar spot.
Yeah, it was funny because Seth and I were together, and my dad and my Uncle Chris were on the other side of the stadium. But then there were 2 people that were also on the bus with us.
Yeah, we could have had them... See, if we knew that, we could have traded with them.
Yeah, thankfully, those 2 people on the bus were the 2 that we were hanging out with. Like, they were hanging out with us and playing Pong and shit. I just remember getting way too fucked up to the point where I was playing like Flip Cup and beer pong and shit with like people that I've never...
With Tom Segura.
Yeah, oh my god, yeah, the guy that looked just like Tom Segura. And then there was a guy that was...
We were like, dude, you look like Tom Segura. He's like, I don't know who that is.
I went up to one guy and I'm like, are you Wolfman? And he goes, what? And I go, Wolfman from Novellus. And he goes, no, that's my twin.
We took a picture with Tom Segura too.
We did. Knows. Yeah.
We should put that on our Instagram. We have an Instagram now. I made that the other day.
Oh, word. Fuck yeah.
We could put Tom Segura and us on there and say it's Tom Segura. No one would even know the difference.
Get some publicity.
But yeah, it was just fun. I mean, the shitty thing was that before the game started, we're sitting there, right? And there was a guy and his girlfriend like a few seats down from us that were smoking cigarettes before the game. Not that it makes it any better. So I pull out my Juul and I take like 2 or 3 puffs off my Juul and put it back in my pocket. And like 5 minutes later, the security guard comes up to me and he goes, "Hey, I gotta take that." And I'm like, "Take what?" And he goes, "That vape you have, you can't have that in the stadium." And I'm just like, "Okay, whatever. I'm not gonna argue with you."
What about that guy that was
that was smoking a cigarette right there? Yeah. So I gave him my fucking Juul and he goes, "You can get this back. Just find me." And he walked away. It would have been fine.
Can I get your Can I get your Twitter handle?
It would have been fine if I knew where he was going to be, but it got to be after halftime, and I was looking around, and I'm like, I don't know who that guy was, but I know I don't see him. And so, like, at the end of the third quarter, I ended up going up to the security section of the stadium.
And this game wasn't like
it was a shitty game. Anyway,
it wasn't close.
The Bills were losing by like 30.
I mean, the Bears fucking.
We spent the entire fourth quarter front row because so many people left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like
it was not close. It wasn't. It was like literally. It felt like it was like not even an hour long because it was just a fucking blowout.
Plus, we were hammered, and we spent a solid time just eating food.
Yeah.
Like, we went and got food. We got, like, fucking chicken and fries and whatever.
It is kind of crazy, though, when you think about it, how even though you're up in, like, the nosebleeds, you still get, like, a decent seat. Like, you can still see things pretty well.
The stadium in Buffalo is my favorite stadium.
Like, you would think, like, in these big stadiums, like, you wouldn't be able to see jack shit. Like, they would look like ants.
Yeah.
But really, it's not.
I love that stadium. Like, because I've been to Buffalo, I've been to MetLife, I've been to the Eagles Stadium, I've been to Cleveland. Cleveland was cool because they were the most relaxed stadium I've ever been in. Like, my dad and I showed up with, we each had a 6-pack of beer and then, like, those mini bottles of Jack. We try to get in and they're like, "Oh, no, you can have it in this area where the food is, but you can't bring it into the stadium." And my dad's like, "What if we drink it all right now? Can we go in?" And he's like, "Sure." So my dad sat there we literally sat there with security, like in the tent, just drinking beer and Jack Daniels, shooting the shit with these fucking security guards, talking about the Browns and fucking SU.
Yeah.
Like, one of them was from Syracuse or something, and we just chilled in the security tent drinking liquor. Like, it was so fucked. And then the best one was we were there, and I was only 20 when this was going on. And this guy came up to me, and he had all these tall boys with him. And he was selling beer in the stadium. And he's like, "You want a Bud Light, brother?" And I'm like, "Sure." And he goes, "You have any ID?" And I go, "Oh, shit." I'm like, "No, I don't." I go, "My dad has my wallet. I just have cash on me." He goes, "Man, $10." Like, it fucking hands me a beer for like a fucking one of those, like the big fucking Bud Lights or Budweisers.
Busch Light. And
I grabbed it and I went back to our section where my dad was, and he's like, "Where the fuck did you get a beer?" I go, "I don't know. It was 8, but he charged me 10, so I have a beer now." So that was the whole night. Was like, since I had that one beer, nobody questioned me, so I could just go around and be like, "Hey."
Yeah, that's all you need. It's fucking crazy how expensive shit is in stadiums.
Yeah, that's where
even at Syracuse,
it's like movie theaters, dude.
Yeah,
concessions.
They gotta charge more.
Yeah.
Well, movie theaters, they make so much money off it. I mean, I feel like anywhere really, any venue is going to make a lot off most of their money off of concessions.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it makes sense, and it's the only place you're going to be able to get any of it.
Yeah.
You can't really go anywhere else.
Well, they don't want you to bring in your own foods. Like, I'm sure for like a couple reasons, but
they're like, "Oh, you want to bring in these Reese's?" Sorry, you have to pay $4.50 for a Reese's in here.
I don't know. That's what I think is really cool about the stadiums, like for college. And also, no,
even when you go to see a Syracuse game, it's expensive.
I was going to say the Falcons, because the Falcons games don't charge shit for concessions. And they're making all the other stadiums change the way their concessions do. Because Arthur Blank has so much fucking money that he pays outright, like, for all the vendors. So you can go there and get, like, chicken tenders and fries for like $4, where it cost us what, like $9 or $10.
Yeah, it was like at least $8. Yeah,
I remember it was we were gonna get pizza, and
there was like a slice of pizza that was like $9.50.
Yeah, it was a slice of pizza was literally $9. And it's like
I was like surprised like that fries and
the
chicken tenders were only like
so
$7
cheap.
or $8.
Yeah.
Which is like almost a steal in a stadium.
Yeah, compared to the one slice of pizza.
Yeah, it's like fuck that shit.
Well, have you ever been to an MLB game? Because MLB games are so different.
No,
with
I've
the
only been to
vending.
minor league games.
It's very relaxed. Like we went and saw the Yankees play in Baltimore, and they literally have restaurants in the stadium.
Mhm.
They have like a
yeah,
Chili's.
they'll have like McDonald's or fucking
Yeah.
Subway. or
They had
something.
like a Chili's and a Longhorn Steakhouse. Did I say I said Chili's? They had Chili's. They had a Longhorn Steakhouse. They had like a Ruby Tuesday, and then like a
Chili's.
Baltimore restaurant, like whatever, owned by like a bunch of players started their own restaurant franchise and had it built in there. And it's like we walked in and like went to a Ruby Tuesday and like got an actual meal while we were watching baseball, and it was maybe
Right.
$10 more than it would be normally.
Yeah, it is.
And you
always
have the
more.
benefit of being you're sitting on a Ruby Tuesday and you're watching a baseball game.
Yeah.
Like that's fucking crazy.
That is cool. I mean, the thing about baseball games is they're casual enough to like just
Do that.
yeah. Like, you know, if you go to Disney World, like there's definitely Subway there, but the Subway is gonna be it's gonna
Marked
be
up.
pretty.
Well, it's
fucking-
like Times Square too. I remember we went to a TGI Fridays in Times Square. For 4 of us, it was like $130. When normally it's like $60 or $70.
Yeah, and that's why I don't understand how people can live there. It's like I guess you're not gonna go to Times Square all the time, but still you're paying a ton of rent. Like the rent in New York, in Manhattan, is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then I would imagine a lot of the places are marked up just because you get so many tourists.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck they're doing for a job that pays them that much, or they just live like
New
shit,
York City.
or they're just Jerry Seinfeld from Seinfeld, and they just live in a fucking live in an apartment,
True. But yeah,
like
so
a 1-room apartment with Kramer next door.
Well, even
streaming
that,
the N-word.
I love how Kramer has a key to his house or his apartment, but Jerry never really wants him to be there.
Video games on the break right before we started. What video game from your childhood has stuck with you the most? And I want to limit this to games that haven't been remade or remastered, or maybe they could.
I think 007 Nightfire was like really big for me. Like I played that a lot, and I also Star Fox 64 and Pokemon Stadium. 64, or a lot of 64 games.
Yeah, you were like the only person. You and Sean were the only kids I knew that had a Nintendo 64 because all my other friends had PlayStations.
Well, Wes had one.
I had a PlayStation.
I don't really remember that far back when he lived on like Jackham Road, or like.
Well, I know that he had one still at Brandon Trail,
True.
but they didn't bring it out much.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
that's
was like a
right. Yeah,
special
because they bought
occasion.
it. Yeah, I remember because that's what they got for Christmas. They got a Nintendo 64.
Yeah,
like,
because I
all
remember
the games.
before
Right.
when I was in a band forever ago with Wes, we used to play Time Splitters before we'd go to shows.
Yep.
that was mine. Was Time Splitters. Like, I went on I was on Reddit, and on the front page was a Time Splitters update. The company that, who bought them? I can't remember. A company bought
Bethesda.
them. No, a company bought them a few months ago.
Software?
They
Oh yeah. Isn't it like Eidos? Eidos, or however you say it. Eidos Interactive.
Yeah.
Because I think the news was that like the original company bought them back or something like that.
Who
hang
did
on.
Time Splitters
It was,
originally?
Well, people who made Time Splitters.
THQ bought them.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then they went out of business.
It's THQ Nordic, but it used to be no, who the fuck did it used to be something else. But
Panic Button.
Deep Silver.
Oh, yeah.
Deep Silver
yeah.
bought Time Splitters because they're part of THQ now. THQ is just a bunch of subsidiaries.
Right.
So their
Yeah, it doesn't
Deep
really-
Silver is the official publisher for them. But
Isn't
they
there
just
one branch of THQ that exists still?
the one that THQ.
Like, they're still. I think it's Nordic.
Yeah, Nordic.
They
Yeah,
still like
that's
exist,
that's the
but-
parent company. Yeah, and it used to be something else I can't remember, but now it's THQ Nordic. But they just announced last week that they assigned Time Splitters to a developer that has yet to be announced, which is pretty sweet because that means they're working on Time
CD
Splitters.
Projekt Red.
Like,
that would be crazy.
okay.
It's an open
Wouldn't
world
happen,
MMO.
but
Like, I just want a new Time Splitter so bad. Like, but the thing is, I'm so scared if they make a new one.
yeah.
But that game, the soundtrack, the
Well,
mid-level
did
design.
id Software do the new Doom, or who did that?
Yeah.
It was id Software, yeah.
I mean, that's not a bad move. Like, because they're obviously versed in arena shooters. If you can do arena shooters, like, that's all it is.
I would
What was the screen sheet game that we played that one time?
Screen Sheet?
That's what it was called?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Who did that?
that was
Is it an indie game?
yeah.
that's
There was a
definitely an
company
indie
called
game.
Samurai Punk.
That wasn't bad. I actually kind of liked that game.
I fucking love that game. And they're actually coming out with a new version for the Switch.
You
which-
can't play that online, though, right?
You
There's
can.
no way.
You can. I did.
How do you do that? Does it show other people's screens?
Yeah, it just shows everybody's screen on your own.
Really?
It's kind of weird, but
There's got to be some latency, though.
yeah, there is.
But that's a really cool fucking, like, couch
Yeah,
co-op, or couch shooter, you know?
The concept of it is just so cool.
I mean, I like the idea of 4-player couch games. They don't really exist that much anymore. You get games
Right.
like Overcooked or, like...
That's about it.
Dude,
Yeah, I mean,
Monaco
Mario
was pretty
Kart-
sweet.
Monaco's okay.
Mario Kart's always going to do that, you know?
Yeah.
Gang Beasts,
Gang Beasts is cool.
Human Fall Flat, but that's only 2
I think it's
player.
only 2, yeah. I mean, you can go back and play Halo 3. I mean, it still exists.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what I like about sports games.
Right. There's not really a...
There's no barrier to entry. A lot of people are familiar with whatever sport game you're playing.
Right.
You know? Like that's what I like about Madden. Actually,
I just miss being able to play Halo 3 and have 4 people in the same room and then play against another team of 4.
yeah, that was the coolest shit.
Because you're basically playing against another house across the country.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the fucking crazy shit. But yeah, so what was yours? Games that stuck with you?
I'm still thinking about it. I don't know.
Like, I was gonna say, I have Time Splitters, obviously, but
I mean, I think the N64 stuck with me the most. Like, just in general. I think as a console, it was like just... I played a lot of it. And I also liked the Dreamcast because the Dreamcast was like a thing that no one really had. And it didn't have that many games, but like... It was something... It felt like it was ahead of its time at the same time. Like, graphically, it was.
It was crazy back then.
Yeah.
But
it just had the worst luck with the PS2 coming out right after. Like, a year after the Dreamcast came out, the PS2 was out. And it was like... Okay, spend an extra $100 and you get the PS2, which is also a DVD player,
Well,
which
Sega
was a huge sell.
yeah.
Sega didn't spend a lot of money on third-party games.
No,
I think they wanted to just pump out Sonic games. I mean, I don't know. There was a couple games, but I just don't remember that many of them. I mean, Sonic Adventure 2 was the one that really stuck with me from the Dreamcast.
yeah, we talk about that like almost every
Crazy
week.
Taxi games were
Crazy
fucking cool.
Taxi.
Crazy Taxi 2, man. I played the shit out of that game.
A PS1 game that stuck with me that they haven't touched in years. You guys ever play Siphon Filter?
Yeah.
That game was fucking phenomenal.
I have 3.
Yeah, that game's wicked good. Have you played Siphon
I
Filter?
think so, yeah.
It's the one where you're like part of an anti-terrorist group, and a group of terrorists takes
So you
over
were,
like
Antifa.
the cat. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. You play as
versus POTUS.
Yeah, you play as the Proud Boys. No, like a group of terrorists like plants a bunch of chemical bombs in New York City, and you have to go throughout the city and disarm them. But like each bomb
so
has
it's
its own puzzle.
Oh.
It was a really weird game. It was like a cross between Tomb Raider and Metal Gear Solid because it had stealth, but it also had a lot of platforming.
And it also had a lot of like action.
Yeah,
like,
it was really
very
action based.
Early third person shooter.
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
the cool thing about it too was like I remember distinctly in the first.
Well, I used to like the Splinter Cell games too, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah. I remember the first the first Siphon Filter game had the first mission, and it was like, you had 3 objectives, but they were each in a different neighborhood, and you can choose which one to do. So like you could start off, and then you could go to this one area, and it's like
like the Toy Story game.
Yeah, and it was like the one where you play as Buzz Lightyear. Yeah, that game is so good. That game is so good. Oh my god! But yeah, you could go to this one area, and it's like, oh, your squad mates are pinned by sniper fire, and you have to go behind enemy lines and take out all the snipers. And then if you do that, you can start the game with a sniper rifle, and then do the next objective and snipe people. Or you can do the first one and get like a grenade launcher. Mm-hmm. Or you can do the other one and get like, a fucking minigun or something. I don't know. Like, right. And each mission was like that, where you would have one main objective and then 2 other ones that you had to do, but you could pick which one you did first. And each one would give you like a different power up or like an ally to go with you or something. Like, it was really, that's a game that's kind of almost ahead of its time, because it really reminds me of Dishonored. Yeah. Where in Dishonored, you have the main objective in this giant map, but you have like 3 or 4 other things you can do.
I feel like back then there was more arena shooters, and they were like, and they would be more creative with their weapons too,
Yeah,
like I feel
Unreal
like
Tournament.
Yeah. Oh my god, Unreal Tournament. Is Tournament the one, dude? There was only one map that I played on that, and it had a tower on each end.
It's the 2 towers and the bridge in the middle. And it's got like that little center hole that you can fall in.
Because you would get the lightning sniper rifle and just fucking piece everybody. That game was so good. I was playing my buddy Ben Canali. I used to hang out with him, and he moved. I think he lives in LA or something now. And I was at his house, and he's like, "Dude, you want to play an awesome fucking shooter?" And I was like, "Yes." And he shows me.
How old were you? Like 11?
I was probably 10 or 11 years old. I was in middle school, I think. He shows me Unreal. We snuck into his brother's room and played Unreal Tournament. And I was like, this is fucking odd. Because you were blowing dudes' heads off and shit. Yeah. And that was not a thing at the time. Like, I feel like even games, like there were certain marks that there's certain games that I played that marked like a revolution in sort of gaming.
Yeah,
like I remember playing Black on the Xbox, and I remember seeing like the destructive environments and things like that, and I was like, this is going to be a thing. Like, this is what's going to be the standard from now on. And SOCOM, like I remember playing SOCOM and being like, this controls pretty well. Like, it's going to kind of be like this, like for tactical shooters. And it kind of was a thing, but there hasn't been a game like SOCOM in a while where you could have 4 guys in your squad, and you could switch between each character. You'd have a support guy and like
oh my god, it was
a sniper.
The Conflict games, remember those? Desert Storm.
Yeah,
they had Conflict Desert Storm. Did you ever play that?
I didn't play it. I know what you're talking about.
That was when you were you would start each mission, and they'd be like a half hour long, and it would be like, it was Operation Desert Storm, and it was like actual battles from like that and the Gulf War that was going on, which is another, I'm going to digress for like a second, but nobody ever talks about the wars that America was in like the 90s.
Right.
You never hear about Operation Desert Storm or the Gulf War. Isn't that weird?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, like, I don't think a lot of people even really think of what we're doing now as a war.
That's true.
Right.
But I think 10 years after it's over, that's when people will be like, oh shit, the Iraq war, like, that was a thing. I don't know, like, I think when you're in the moment, or if it's leading to something, I don't think it's necessarily, like, considered as big as it is.
Yeah.
They also don't want to make it as big of a deal as it is.
No, not anymore.
Yeah.
Because...
Well, there's also they'd rather talk about Trump.
Well, I was also going to say a lot of it, because I remember when we were kids that the big knock against George Bush was that he wasn't ending the war.
Right.
And then Obama's big selling point was, I'm going to bring the troops home. And then what he really did was not do that. And then Trump is like, like he doesn't, like you said, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what he talks about, because they're going to be like, meh.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to go back to Desert Storm.
First, I think part of the reason we don't talk about like the Gulf War and the Iraq War because like the wars that came before that feel like they were so much more
significant.
Like, major.
Yeah, definitely.
Like Vietnam and Korea and
World War II.
They also involved more parties.
Yeah. Where Gulf War basically was just I don't fucking know.
I think it was just
I think on the last podcast I was talking about, I went out down a rabbit hole about these fucking wars, and I was like, well, what happens is one party, like, there's a conflict between two parties, and then other parties are just going to keep joining in, and the more parties that join in, it's like if we have World War III, it's going to have to end up like that, where someone comes to help. You always have an ally of some sort, and they all join
what's
in.
Going on right now.
And
see how Russia is about to invade the Ukraine.
That's the thing is the more parties that it's like, how many parties have to be involved before it's considered a world war?
Yeah. What's funny about, it's not funny, but what is funny about the World War II is if you look at the fucking, like the rosters.
Yeah, like if you look at
it literally was a world war, dude. It was like 18 versus 18. Like it was like a ground war game in COD.
Right.
But each character was a new country.
It was head coach's issue.
It was fucked, dude. Like you had like fucking Uruguay and Paraguay and like Portugal and shit.
Well, yeah, but how much did they really like contribute?
They were probably just like stationed.
That's the thing is you can like see like statistically how many bodies they put in, and it's not really anything compared to like the top three countries that are in there.
Think about that. That's so fucking crazy. Like now you can literally type in
like how many casualties.
You can see all of the battles and all the casualties, and like 100 years ago you would have to like find a
you would have to go out there and start digging. Like you have to literally fucking pulling out bullets and shit.
But yeah, fucking Conflict Desert Storm was sweet. It was Desert Storm 2 was the one that I played the most of, because you would pick they had two different squads, and one was Green Berets and one was Navy SEALs or something like that. No, one was Green Berets and one was Army Rangers.
There's not really anything that fits that like niche anymore.
No.
Like there are tactical shooters like Siege or like that's about it. That's all I can think of right now.
Yeah.
It is a first-person shooter. But there's not like third-person shooters because I remember playing Ghost Recon, like Future Soldier, and even like the older Ghost Recon games.
Advanced Warfighter.
Yeah, and it's like they don't really have those. Army of Two was like a good cooperative game,
Mm-hmm.
And there wasn't anything like that.
Oh, wow. That actually brought me to another game that stuck with me that is never being touched again. Kane and Lynch, Dead Men, was such a crazy game. Such a crazy story. Because the story is you play as Kane, and you used to be part of this fucking, like, burrow of government assassins, and you decide to retire, and they want you to come back, so they kidnap your wife and daughter. Yeah. And then halfway through the game, you save your wife and daughter, and then one of the fucking agents comes out of nowhere and kills your wife, and then takes your daughter. And it's like, oh my God.
See, it's like...
And it ends up being this whole fucking thing where, like, near the end of the... Like, you meet up with Lynch, who's like a crazy heroin addict, murderer guy. And you get to near the end of the game, and Lynch is like, I used to roll with a fucking crazy, mercenary group. And you save all the fucking other mercenaries, and like his boss is in prison, so you have to go to like a fucking maximum security prison and break the guy out and escape. And then like you go to fucking Brazil or some shit with like a fucking militia to get your daughter back. Like it's so fucking, it's so crazy. Like it's like such a crazy game.
Like, I feel like a lot of back then. I feel like developers put more time into they put more love into their games.
Dude, yeah, because Kane and Lynch was cool because it was one of those games where...
But it's also because the market is ruled by certain developers now.
For sure.
You really
Because developers are getting bought by other developers. Like you have... Well, like Microsoft is doing a good job by buying all the AA developers.
Yeah.
Like Obsidian and Exile. And they're rehiring all the people from... who made Dead Space? Oh my God.
I don't know.
Oh my God. They just got shut down like a year ago.
I really don't know.
Yeah, look that up, because you're going to say the name and I'm going to be pissed, but I'm pretty sure Microsoft just bought them out too. Vicious.
They bought out a whole.
Yeah, they bought a ton of.
Is
people.
it Vicious Gaming?
It's something like Visceral.
Visceral.
Yeah.
Microsoft. Yeah, Visceral.
No,
or did EA
yeah,
buy
it is
them?
Visceral. It is Visceral.
Did EA buy out Visceral? Somebody did. But like that's what it's turning into now. Is that all these companies are like, you know what? Like the market is stagnant. There's not really a console war anymore because everybody knows what they want.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are committed to what they're playing.
Yeah.
But it's
And-
also like, I remember when the PS3 and the 360 came out, and that was like a big deal, whichever one you picked. But nowadays, it's just like,
Well, even there was still a thing between PS4 and Xbox.
but I think
bit.
nowadays it's it's like, gaming is such a broad thing now. PS2 and like GameCube and Xbox era, I don't remember a lot of people playing video games. And then Call of Duty got popular and more people started. And now that free-to-play games are a thing with consoles, there's a lot of people I know that never played video games growing up that play shit like Fortnite or Warframe or COD or Battlefield. But that'll be the only thing they play, and they'll play like a couple times a week.
Yeah. Well, Call of Duty even made it big on the computer, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, you had Halo and Call of Duty. They were big for shooters at the times.
yeah, for sure. I think MOBAs helped with that too. I was talking to one of my coworkers about MOBAs, about League of Legends actually, about how crazy it was. Because he's my age, so
I mean,
we
even
were
Diablo got really big
Yeah.
when it came out.
we were talking about, because we were the same age, freshman years when League of Legends came out, when we were both 14. And we were talking about how weird it was that since it was free, all these people that, and it could run on anything, League of Legends, when it first came out, and like all these people that were like, they'd play fucking The Sims or Madden, all of a sudden they're playing a fucking like a MOBA about like fucking sorcerers and demons and shit. And it was like, Minecraft helped.
Yeah.
I think it was all these smaller games that blew up, like Minecraft and League of Legends, and I don't know. I don't want to say Diablo because Diablo was always popular, but Diablo 3 was huge. Like I remember kids that like were the same way, that they bought Diablo 3 because of the marketing.
Yeah.
Halo 3.
The name.
Halo 3 was huge with the marketing.
Yeah, and I think I like now. Like nowadays, I feel like if I had a really good computer, I would like some of those top-down games like Diablo, just because they would look really good.
Diablo was really fun on console, though. It really is.
Yeah, like
Especially because that's a couch co-op game.
yeah.
Right.
You can do all 4 players on the same screen.
I just feel like when Battlefield and Call of Duty started getting really big, it sort of stagnated the fucking whole thing.
Yeah.
And it turned all the shooters into the same game, really. Like I don't know, they all seem to be clones of this of each other, and they have a little quirk to them.
Yeah, I was gonna mention the differences between Battlefield and Call of Duty were so much more abrasive back, like PS3 era, Xbox 360 era. Like if you were playing Battlefield Bad Company 2, because that's what I used to play with my buddies, or even Battlefield 3, you were like, oh shit, you play Battlefield? That's fucking crazy. Like,
Yeah.
I can't keep up with that. You're playing 24 on 24 maps. That's fucking crazy.
It was crazy at the
Vehicles.
time, yeah.
And nowadays it's like, oh, you play
nowadays,
Battlefield?
nowadays,
okay,
like 100
baby.
players though. With battle royale games, you get 100 players in every server now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now that's the thing.
Kind of the
I mean,
norm.
yeah, capacity is definitely a big thing right
Yeah.
now.
And I totally fell back in love with PUBG yesterday.
I played yesterday actually, and I got to the top 10 on the fucking small map. Dude,
What's
it's so
the?
intense.
It's the big map that's all jungle. It's the newest one.
That's a smaller one.
That's the smaller one.
That's the one I just played. Yeah.
I played on that one and it was fun as shit.
Oh, I
I
was
only killed
freaking the
4
fuck
guys, but it was so sweet. Like I started off and I dropped in like this tiny village with only like 3 buildings.
Yep. That's the thing to do is on the smaller maps, you have to get to the little tiny intersections.
And I spawned and I grabbed a Vector, and then I grabbed an M416.
The smaller maps have more weapons. So
yeah.
It's more, you're more likely to get in firefights on that.
And I ended up gearing up, and by the time I did 2 of the buildings, and my M4 had like a grip and a scope, and my Vector had extended mags, and I had like I had a Molotov, and all of a sudden I fucking look out the window and I see a guy running into the one building I didn't go in yet, and I'm like, oh god, he doesn't have shit on him, like I'm gonna fuck him up, and I jumped out the window and ran in, and I saw him go into like a room, and I threw a Molotov in there and sprinted in, and I like hid in a corner, and the Molotov was fucking him up, and he ran out and started running out the building, and I was just like, pop, pop, pop. And he got knocked, and I was like, all right, so he's in a squad. So
right.
I fucking waited there, and then the
usually.
next guy came to get him. I killed both of them. And
see, it's just
I do one man squad because I feel like an asshole.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like I'm just I'm just like a spoiler.
Yeah.
Because
I just like when games are audio based too. Like you have to listen for cause Siege is like that.
So is Counter-Strike.
But with PUBG, you can tell when someone's near you because you can hear it.
When you hear firefights from far away, I get so fucking hard. When I hear a firefight from like...
Well, because you know someone's going to die.
And you know that they're distracted and you can just pick them off.
But I know, I spent a lot of that game hiding on a fucking balcony because I heard someone downstairs. And I felt like... I stopped hearing it, so I felt like they were just hanging out like I was. So I was like, I'm just going to wait until the circle moves. And I did. I got top 7 or something like that.
Jesus.
But it's like, it's a very, like, with Siege and things like that, you can't listen to a podcast or something.
No, you can't.
So if you're listening to us right now and you're playing Siege or PUBG,
you're probably losing.
Yeah, you're probably dying right now.
You're being a burden on your team.
I don't know. I like games where you don't have to do that, but I also like games where you have to be focused. And it's also nice to have a game that's finally like where you have to communicate with your team. I feel like that's not a thing anymore that much.
No, and we were talking once about how...
Like, it seems like with the 360, you used to have fucking... Yeah, you were going to say this.
Yep.
With the 360, everyone would have a fucking microphone. You know, you would join a Halo 3 party and everybody would be start screaming at each other. And then it doesn't happen anymore. Because there's not really a... You know, some games don't even have really a fucking live chat.
I was going to say, partying up in Halo 3 was the coolest and best thing to happen ever.
Oh, yeah.
Because I remember going in and you would do like big team battle, like 8 on 8.
Yeah.
And we would have 4 people on one screen. And then it would be like, there's 2 other guys that want to play, press X. And you're matched up with them.
Yeah.
And then you find another guy, and then another guy, and you have a fucking
Plus your matchmaking
group.
Was faster too, because you basically have a whole team.
It was so good. Like it was just so fucking cool. Like, oh my God, partying up. What Gears of War did that too, I think.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, it would mix up your team sometimes. Like I remember playing with my buddy Casey. Wicked throwback. He's younger than you guys. I think he's Wes's age, or maybe a year younger. Maybe he's Ashley's age.
Casey Jones?
No, he lives in Beeville. But he had Gears of War, and I was like 13. And if you partied up in Gears, it would mix up the party. So like there would be if your party was like 5 people, you would have like 2 on one team and 3 on the other, and it was awesome when we'd be on the same screen but on different teams, and it's just like, oh my God, we're about to just like, oh my God, it's so sweet.
Because you always
get the advantage, you can ghost people.
Yeah. And then you always end up being the one guy that's the fucking locust.
Every time, and you have to be the default locust, so you're not even cool.
Yeah,
looking.
The fucking, not even a Theron.
The drone. You have to be the drone.
The drone.
I was going to say, Gears of War also stuck with me, because I remember playing that for the first time and just being completely blown away.
Yeah, it was all about the Gnasher, dude.
It was. The Gnasher, the chainsaw, like just how weirdly modern it was. Like the time period for Gears is... Or like just the base of technology they have, because it's very rudimentary, but then they have some things that are futuristic, like AI and satellite.
There's just it's a weird thing, because there's you can hit a certain spot and like have just a game feel good. Like it doesn't have to. You can't really explain how it is, but it feels right, like the way a game plays.
We were talking about Destiny earlier.
And then, well, there's something special about Destiny because it's not like Battlefield or Call of Duty. It has elements of like an MMO or a fucking RPG. It blends those things in a hybrid way, and I think that's why I like it. And I think because I don't really necessarily like pure MMOs or pure RPGs, and I like shooters.
It's just enough of each.
Yeah,
you know, it's like a ice cream sundae.
Yeah.
You got your vanilla, your chocolate, and your
like it's got a lot of.
It's like a Neapolitan.
Yeah.
I think it's because it's Bungie and like they know
Bungie
how to make
knows.
a good first-person shooter.
I said that the day that the first Destiny came out. I was like, when I played it, I started playing it. I was like 15 minutes and I was like, Bungie doesn't know how to make a bad game. They don't know how to do it. I was like, this game is fucking ridiculously good. And then I stopped playing it because I didn't want to pay for the expansions. And then 3 years later, I was like, I'm buying this game again because everyone talks about it. And people don't like the way that you have to pay for it. That's the thing. It's almost a subscription game.
Yeah, basically.
Like World of Warcraft or something. But it's because they keep adding things.
And like I was saying, like I have this vanilla Destiny too.
But you also have to play it a lot. That's part of the
that's
problem.
the other thing. That's the thing that because I'm gonna buy the expansion tomorrow and then play the shit out of it. But the thing that's driving me now is how much cooler the weapons are in Destiny 2.
Dude, there's a new one. The update that just came out today. Because there's a gun.
I'm a freak for like Borderlands.
Yeah.
Like that's my shit.
That's what I was just thinking. Like,
there's a like the update that just came out. There's a gun that you can shoot into the ground, and it sets up these like underground nodes, and you can connect each one. Like you can shoot each one to a different spot. And then they all connect with lightning.
Oh, yeah.
It's fucking so you can like draw a dick with your gun and then fucking a lightning dick.
That's where his fucking head goes to immediately.
Well, you got to do that if you're killing stuff.
I mean, you do, and then you kill somebody with a dick. That's hilarious.
Yeah, bad manners is fuck. It's funny.
I like that. I do like the idea of having guns that are unique. It's not really a thing that happens in Call of Duty. They're mostly the same archetype, and
they do the same things. Just they look different.
And that's, I don't know. It gives you some sort of depth, you know. And with Bungie or with Destiny in general, they have random rolls on each gun, so you can get the gun 7 different times, and each time it's going to have different perks on it. So it could be technically it's a different gun almost.
It's just like
Borderlands.
Yeah.
I fucking love Borderlands.
See, like, I wasn't that big of a fan of Borderlands, but I like the idea of it a lot, because I like the gathering loot, the different guns, the large feel of it, but just like the feel of it just doesn't.
The
sit
reward
right with
system
me.
is cool when there's like a loot based shooters.
Yeah,
you feel like you're always earning something.
Borderlands 2 sucked. It was too memey.
Yeah, well.
But the first one is just, oh my god. Like, playing that game was just so, like you said, cause I fucking love RPGs and skill trees.
Yeah.
That's where you and I are kind of separate. Where you like the kind of, not streamlined, but like less complicated, same results, but it's less complicated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like Borderlands, with the way you could build your character, it was like Diablo, but like Diablo 2, where like we could each make a hunter, and we could each come up with like 3 different ways to build it.
Yeah.
And like,
well, that's one of the things. That's why people like that Path of Exile game, because the skill tree is
Sean loves fucking Path of Exile.
I played it for like a while.
The skill tree
years.
is no. Seriously, I looked at the skill tree and I was like, I can't get into this because there's way too much.
Well, the thing is, like, it's just so not easy for beginners to get into it.
Yeah.
But like, when you actually know what to look for, it's actually really simple.
It was I was like, it's so overwhelming. That skill
It's
tree.
like the sphere grid from Final Fantasy X.
Yeah.
Where like, you first see the sphere grid and you're like, what am I looking at? Like, what am I going to do with my character?
But you also, you obviously upgraded over time, so you can make those decisions in real time. Yeah. It's not like you're like, well, I need to get to here, so I'm going to go here.
Well, that's what it ultimately ends up being.
Right,
like,
yeah, after you've played it, probably.
Yeah. You're like, oh, I know that this note's
awesome.
Really fucking good, so I need to get there. Yeah, just go from there.
Yeah, that was the thing with Borderlands, was that like once you played it enough, and there wasn't really any competitive, it was just all like raids and co-op stuff.
I feel like at a certain point in PoE, it's like you basically have a wicked overpowered character. Because I remember watching Derek play it, and he had like this build where his character would just spin in circles, and it had a huge area of effect, and it would literally just do that. He just had to hold his mouse down and move around, and it would just slaughter everything like one hit kill. It's like at a certain point, it's not even fun anymore.
Yeah, I remember my Diablo 3 character that I fucking cleared the game with all the time. I played with Anthony a few times, like doing the seasonal stuff. I did the wizard. And I had the Archon ability where you can turn into into magic.
Yeah.
You turn like the Silver Surfer. But I had all of my perks and abilities linked to ice damage. And then my weapon was linked to ice damage. And like my weapon or something I had some ability where if I use frost damage, it has like a 50% chance of freezing an enemy for 3 seconds.
Yep.
And then I could turn into the Ice Wizard or the Ice Archon and just constantly cast an Ice Beam, and then everything would freeze, which means they take like extra damage and they also can't move, and it stacked.
Yeah.
So like we would fight a boss, and I would just go into Archon mode and just hold the right mouse button down on the boss, and he'd be frozen, and then Anthony would use his Barbarian and beat him in like 30 seconds.
That's what I like, because Destiny is it's a shooter.
Yeah.
But it also has those elements where you can stack certain abilities onto other abilities and make yourself overpowered.
Like that was the thing too, was when I was playing Sunday and I got the gun.
So once you get into the post game, like the actual end game, that's when you're going to start really building your character and understanding what works together.
Like I got what's the fucking pulse rifle I have? The exotic?
It's Graviton Lance.
Graviton Lance. So like it shoots a 2-bullet burst, but the second bullet does void damage.
It's way more powerful than the first.
And it does double damage or something, yeah.
And it also blows up the enemy.
Yeah, and I have an ability where if I kill somebody with void damage, they blow up.
Oh, and it like spreads.
Yeah. And they blow up into like a cluster bomb.
It does like heat-seeking bombs.
So if I'm fighting a bunch of mobs that like this is how I beat a boss yesterday.
Yeah, if there's a bunch of ads, you're fine because you can.
So like we had the boss chilling, and then there was like 8 shitty little what are ads?
Additional.
Okay, yeah. Bunch of ads, a bunch of aids, bunch of mobs, grunts or whatever, and like I would kill all of them, and then they would all blow up, and then they'd all blow up and do damage to the boss, and then they would seek a separate bomb each character and just fucking blow them up. So the way I beat Thumos or whatever, Thumos the Unbroken, was waiting for him to get in a crowd of a bunch of mobs and just like throw a grenade in and kill them all, and then it'd just be a giant explosion. The Nova bomb I have is cool. It's the homing
slow one?
It's the slow homing one. So I just shoot it at like fucking like 45-degree angle, and it automatically just automatically hits an enemy, and then it blows up into like 3 smaller bombs.
Yeah.
And then if I kill them with it, then they blow up a third time. Like it's just so fucked up.
Yeah, I like the ARC. There's an ARC SMG called Risk Runner, and it if you take ARC damage, it triggers like a special perk, and everything you do, you don't have to reload. It's just constant. You can constantly shoot, and every piece of damage you do, it chains lightning to every other enemy that's in the area. So you can just shoot one dude and just have it melting everybody around him. Yeah.
That's a game that was Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, those are cool.
Weapons, wicked cool.
Yeah.
See, that's like I said. I feel like that's not a thing that a lot of games do anymore. Is
take risks?
Creative with weapons. Yeah,
I don't think they take risks anymore.
No,
it's too dangerous.
Yeah, because games they're so expensive to make nowadays.
And that's also part of why there's only AAA developers that are big.
And that's why you have Sony and Microsoft buying up all these AA studios.
Yeah.
And Starbreeze just shut down. The guys that made The Darkness and oh my god. They made The Darkness, and then they also owned the Payday franchise. And they just shut down because they released the fucking Walking Dead Payday game, basically, and it flopped super hard.
That's definitely the best audience to appeal to, is people who like The Walking Dead and also like Payday.
Yeah. It was supposed to be a Walking Dead survival base building game, but it was like wave defense. Dude, so stupid. So stupid. Like,
Right.
Dying Light did it better 4 years ago.
How many of those games are there?
Exactly.
There's also
It was
lot
like
of,
Nazi zombies that you paid $60 for, and that was the only mode.
Yeah. Well, it seems like games like Friday the 13th and Dead by Daylight are getting pretty popular too.
Yeah.
People will like
Yeah.
those games. There's
And
a certain niche for
I'm
that.
really excited for the new Alien game, Alien Blackout.
And what's that supposed to be? Similar to those or no? Because I
It's-
still haven't
it's-
finished
it's
Isolation.
They said it's a horror based. It's an alien based first person adventure game, but it's not survival horror like Isolation.
Huh.
So it's going to be different from that.
But see, Isolation was cool because it felt like the alien was powerful.
Yeah.
I think in a game where you can kill the alien pretty easily, it's weird.
They have to ramp it up somehow really hard to make it like a threat.
Because
Otherwise-
AVP made sense. I mean, because you could play as the alien or the predator. Because
And
the
also-
predator could slaughter the fucking alien.
Yeah, and
I mean,
also
that
the
was-
Marines you play as were like the top tier.
Right. And even then, they would take some damage. Like, aliens would take some damage. But those games were, like, really good because they balanced those characters well. Which is crazy. Because, I mean, even as the Marines, you could still beat people in the multiplayer modes. But as an alien,
think
I
the
felt like
motion-
the alien was just way jacked because he could jump from wall to wall and shit.
Yeah,
and just
I
get
think the
away from
motion
everything.
tracker for the Marines
That was
like the
what it
biggest
was,
one.
yeah.
because you would always know where enemies were, so you'd always have to jump on them.
Well, the Predator kind of could do that, but you'd have to have a line of sight.
Yeah,
That was so cool, though.
yeah those
You're,
games
like,
were fucking sweet.
seeing the different panels.
Did you ever play Concrete Jungle, the Predator adventure game,
No.
where like you're a predator that has to go throughout New York City and
Is
like
it for Sega Genesis?
no, it wasn't.
Because I probably didn't play it if it's for Sega Genesis.
It was on PS2. Predator Concrete Jungle. Yeah.
Oh, I heard of that.
You're a predator that is sent to Earth and you have to hunt down like in like 1920 you are sent to Earth to like kill some
Concrete
guy, yeah. And
in the jungle.
you end up getting fatally wounded and you abandon Earth without blowing up your evidence, and Earth uses the predator technology to turn into like the whole fucking planet gets crazy technological. So the predators send you down there because to kill like all the military leaders or political leaders or something, because they're about to like invade the predator planet. I can't really remember, but it was pretty sweet because you had all the vision modes, you had all the fucking gear, you could hunt fucking xenomorphs and shit.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of games that I just don't remember the story for, even though I liked them.
Yeah.
Like, even when we were talking about BioShock a couple weeks ago,
Yeah,
it's like,
you had no idea what I was talking about. Well, neither of us really
I
did.
really like BioShock, and I remember the first story. The second one is a blur.
Yeah, did you ever play
No,
BioShock?
I never
2?
played the second one. I didn't want to.
Infinite was
Really?
cool.
BioShock 2 was actually pretty sweet. It was better than
I
Infinite.
like the second one.
I didn't like Infinite at all.
I liked all of them, really. But one was definitely the fucking best. Like, there's no way you can beat
It's one
that
of the
game.
best games ever made.
I mean, story-wise,
BioShock?
like...
2K.
Yeah, 2K.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So why isn't the Big Daddy in NBA yet?
You'd be too overpowered.
Just be LeBron.
My God. They should put it in, like, fucking NBA Jam.
I don't know if they own it anymore though.
No.
I'm not sure. No, they probably do. Cuz I got BioShock remastered.
Digital
And it's still
Extremes.
2K.
2K. Yeah, I bought the collection when it came out. And that, I mean, I felt like the story was just really, really good. And the atmosphere of the game
Yeah.
was really what got me.
That's the big part of it.
And
It's just an underwater city, and they just build it up
Yeah.
so well.
Well, Soma is Underwater City too, right?
You played Soma?
I have it, and I haven't finished it. I got it for free on
So you
PlayStation.
started it.
Yeah.
It's fucked up. It's great, but it's fucked up.
I'm
It's
thinking
one of
about
it's
going
one of
back
like
to
the
that.
most bleak games I've ever played. Because it's like, have you played Soma yet?
I've seen it.
It's
by-
going to be
it's by
free on
Frictional
PlayStation.
Games.
It's going to be free on PlayStation.
The guys that made
next month.
Amnesia.
Yeah, I think it's the one they made right after it.
Mm-hmm. After Machine for Pigs. They're a developer that, like, they don't need to be bought out because they know who their market is, and they know if they make another game, it's going to get... Like, I don't know. That's just me, I think. Because Amnesia, especially The Dark Descent, was just so fucking crazy.
It was fresh.
That was like, nobody was doing that.
Right.
That's another game that, like, really changed shit. And that's a game that stuck with me, too. And really, that's why I got into PC gaming. That and Killing Floor. I bought a computer just for both of those games.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I first played Halo on the computer. Then I moved to the console because I had to, really, for Halo 2.
Yeah.
Until it came out for games for Windows on Vista.
Yeah.
And even then it didn't run that well. I mean, It was really a flawed fucking port. But Halo PC was really fucking cool. Like, I got so good at Halo PC, like, it wasn't even fair, really. So, like,
the grenades were on the map.
Yeah, because you could just throw grenades. I remember joining servers where you just had infinite grenades. And it would just be people hawking them across the fucking... And it was always Blood Gulch, or not Blood Gulch. What's the little tiny one? Beaver Creek or something? Battle Creek? Because Beaver Creek was in the second one, and Battle Creek is the first one. And it was just a tiny little map with the two forts. And you would just talk grenades into the fucking bases. It was actually kind of fun for some reason.
Well, because you just get to mess around.
Yeah.
You get to do shit that you don't normally get to do.
And then there was that one map with the two bases all the way across from each other. Timberland or something it was called. And it had trees like all through the middle.
Yeah, it was shaped like a boot.
And you could shoot a sniper all the way through it. And it was just a sniping fest, basically, is what it was.
Red Faction was pretty fucking crazy.
I always like when games have like a server browser. Because you can set up your own settings and do whatever you want.
Did you guys ever play multiplayer with, like, PS2?
No.
No? Did anyone?
I didn't get a...
No, I didn't even really.
Me neither. It was too expensive.
Yeah, like...
I didn't get
my parents would buy me whatever game I wanted, but I couldn't get a network adapter because it was too expensive.
Yeah. I mean,
I remember they bought me EverQuest for PS2.
Okay.
And, like, it didn't...
Like,
and it didn't work because it didn't have a network adapter. There were a lot of games like that. What was the one? Endgame was a light gun shooter. It was an arcade game. They put it on PS2, and I didn't have a light gun, so I had to play with the fucking analog sticks.
It sucks.
Worst game ever.
Yeah.
You know, like, I miss Duck Hunt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know Duck Hunt is 2-player?
Is it 2-player?
Yeah.
Wasn't it just, like, alternating?
No, the second player controlled the ducks. That's real, dude. That's real.
There's no way that's real.
Yes, it is. But yeah, then you would alternate. Yeah.
So I was thinking about it. I think the game that probably stuck with me most, because there's tons, and like
it's definitely Duck Hunt.
No, as you guys were saying, like there's so many games that you play, and you're like, wow, this changes everything. But the one that probably stuck with me the most, and that like I just got the most out of, was probably Half-Life.
Why is that?
Because I never finished it.
You should. I mean,
it didn't like. It's because I played it now, like recently. You know.
Yeah.
Like I feel like if I played it back when it came out, I would have fucking loved it. But
right, and that's pretty much why. Like I got it, and at the time, like I was used to like Quake and Quake 2 and Doom, so I was like, oh my god,
Joe Rogan,
this game's incredible. And then like, it wasn't just Half-Life though, because the thing about Valve was that they bought up a bunch of mods. Like that's where Counter-Strike came from. That's where Team Fortress came from. But a bunch of people would just make their own mods for the game. And so I got like 4 or 5 years out of Half-Life just playing different mods with a bunch of different people.
That's good for PC players.
Yeah.
That's like the golden age too, man.
I'm
jealous of that, honestly. I'm really jealous of that.
Because like... I could like all I had to do is get Half-Life, and then I have like years and years of fucking games just for
like
free.
Day of Defeat.
Day of Defeat.
Oh my god, what was the one? It was like the base defense game.
Duck Hunt.
No.
Duck Hunt was a thing in Halo 3 too, wasn't it?
Yeah. There was like a mod for it.
Yeah, it was like a custom game where you'd like have The whole, like, everyone on the server would run to try and get to the end, and then you'd have one guy with a sniper, and he'd try and pick everybody off. That was actually super fucking fun.
That was one of the coolest things about Halo 3, and like Reach was.
Yeah, I don't know.
You could just make your own like rules for games.
You could literally create game types. Like, yeah, that's awesome. It's almost like they let you do mods without having actual mods. Like, you could do it in the game.
Yeah.
The fuck was it called? There was a fucking... Oh, I can look it up on my Steam account.
See, Game B has 2 ducks at the same time. This was like the start of the motion control era. Even though it wasn't motion
Nintendo
control.
was always gimmicky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could get pretty good at this game. Like, I remember, like, shredding.
You could also cheat real easily.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, but that's
right up against the screen.
I wonder what the distance the pros had to use. Like, is it like darts where there's a line they have to stand behind? That dog pissed me off though quite a bit. Because when you'd miss or when you'd fuck up, the dog would be an asshole.
Just laughs at you.
The fucking graphics are insane though. Yeah, it's pretty dope. I played way too much of that game.
Toad Speed Gaming. Find it?
But it was kind of the start of like peripherals
I'm
and
looking at my
things.
Steam library to find it because I cannot just think of what it's called at all.
Base Defense.
Is it called Warcraft 2?
Dumbledore's Castle.
You can get swords.
Warcraft I never got into. I don't know why. Because I really liked StarCraft. And like I played that game a ton too. But Warcraft just didn't really appeal to me for some reason.
I played one of them and I don't remember which one it was. It might have been the second one. My cousin worked for Activision at the time, and he was working on Warcraft games. And he sent me one of the games and a bunch of like T-shirts and merch and shit.
Dude, sell it. You'd get tons of money off of those rabid, like Blizzard fans.
You probably could actually. Oh, I don't think it was 2. Maybe it was. What year is 2? What year did 2 come out?
Probably like 97 or 98.
Could have been 2.
I think.
I don't know. I remember trying to play World of Warcraft, and I was like,
no.
Jesus Christ. Because I died. And when you die, you're in trouble, because you got to go back and find your body.
Right,
Because you're you're in like a spectral
You're like
realm.
a ghost. Yeah.
It's like, dude, just let me respawn.
It was Defense Alliance. It wasn't a Half-Life mod.
Oh,
I was
yeah, it's
wrong.
a Killing Floor
mod.
mod.
Yeah, Defense Alliance.
I've never played it, but I know. Like, because I've done the same thing. I see it in my library. I'm like, what is this game?
Yeah, Defense Alliance 2. It was weird. It was like a wave tower defense game where it was like a team of like 12 people, and then it was also Killing Floor if you wanted it to be. And I remember that was really cool because you would be on a map with towers, and then you'd have all the monsters in the front or in the middle, and you'd have to like defend your tower from the enemy because they could like steal your power core or something. But then you also had to not die from the fucking monster.
Right.
Yeah.
It was really interesting.
I was never good at tower defense games, ever.
Sanctum was cool too.
Sanctum. I never played that, but I really wanted to.
That one was cool. It was like Bloons Tower Defense, but in the rounds you were also playing a first-person shooter.
I think it was Warcraft 3.
Go ahead, sorry.
I think that that kind of concept could really be like something big in games if people like really put effort into it, like developers. Like the idea of one team versus another team versus like, you know, AI
environment
NPCs. Yeah. Because that doesn't really happen.
There's a mode in Destiny now that's called Gambit, and you have 2 separate teams playing against the environment on symmetrical maps, and you're basically racing to kill the boss first.
Right.
Which is the closest really I can think of. I know Halo 5 had
Warzone Firefight.
Firefight, yeah. It was like you would have bosses pop up. Like it wasn't two teams though. That's the thing. It was one team, and you'd have bosses pop up on the map. Oh wait, yeah, it was.
They had the Warzone one. Was
Warzone Firefight, which was one team.
No, that was two teams.
There was another one though.
Regular Firefight was just the one team.
No, Warzone was two different teams.
Yeah.
Warzone Firefight was one team.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And then because Warzone Firefight, it would be like you'd get points for killing the other team, but you'd also get like a ton of points for killing like the bosses that pop up on the map.
And
so
then you can contribute it to your team, and you guys get like fucking tanks and banshees and shit.
I mean, because there's people that like to play just PvE games, but there's also people that like to mix in PvP sometimes, and I think that's a good mode to have in games.
I think I know that the Call of Duty Black Ops 4 in the Blackout mode, of course it's a battle royale, but there's also that one section of the map that actually has like zombies on it, which is like which is it's weird, but like that's kind of the direction that I like. We're
about to get DayZ when it's finally finished will be the most popular game.
I think that actually got canceled or something.
Did it really?
I don't
That's too
know.
bad.
No. No.
I thought that was already.
I used to play the shit out of DayZ, dude.
Well, I think everybody did, but eventually it just
was it, like early access?
It was a mod. It was a mod for Arma 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I used to play with a couple buddies from high school, and we would just it was shitty because it just was not a good game. Like, it was not well made.
I mean, that definitely hurts your sales.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, it sold really well, that's the thing. But it was like PUBG, where you start off with nothing and you have to find all your loot and equipment and stuff. But it was also like a survival game where you have to eat and be hydrated and take medicine.
Oh, yeah.
It was I think the selling point was it was a gigantic map. Like, that was why we played, was because it was a gigantic map, and you could just, like, it was like that was when The Walking Dead was super popular, like 2010, 2011, where you would be on the map and you'd be like, oh, let's go to like, you know, the college and loot it. And then it's like, oh shit, there's another squad of people here. But it wasn't PUBG where, you know, you get kicked out of the game. It was, oh, you die? Well, you can go fucking after them if you want, after you respawn.
It was PUBG with respawns.
Yeah, dealing with zombies and stuff. We were talking the other day about how much I want a bot mode in PUBG.
What?
Like,
why?
Playing against bots. I don't like playing against people. My internet connection is not good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you can put them all on rookie mode. And then
but then it's like, I don't know. Eventually, you're gonna get so good that you're always winning.
And then I'll play online.
Yeah, that's true. And then you still get slaughtered, because that's what happens. I used to play Battlefront and Battlefront 2, like the original ones.
Yeah. Instant action.
Just for fucking hours. Even just Galactic Conquest, you just run against a computer.
Yeah.
Even if it's like easy mode.
The problem is because Galactic Conquest against a person would literally take a whole weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
It takes so long.
When I did it against a computer, I would just camp in one spot and just snipe.
Yep.
There was that one map where you could get up on the, like, I think it was on like the Wookiee home planet. Where the fuck is that? Kashyyyk, yeah. And they would all run from the fucking beach. They would all just storm the beach, and you could just camp up there with the sniper and pick them off. Except for when they're the fucking droidicas. You can't kill the droidicas because they have shields.
Yeah. Overpowered.
They really were, though.
Shields on the map.
All right. I guess that's it. We'll wrap it up with droidicas.
Oh, yeah.
No part 3.
We can do part 3. I don't care.
It's up to you.
It's pretty late.
Yeah, it's 7 o'clock.
Yeah, it's pretty late.
That's not like late, but you know.
We probably did like 2.5.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, we probably did 2.5. All right. See ya. Clear Shots is available on any of your favorite podcast platforms. ClearShotsPodcast.com is the best place to find all of our social media links. You can find us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at ClearShotsPod. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.